What's going on, Wolfpack Nation? We are here, y'all, for part one of our Tuffy Talk After Dark. So with that being said, just as a reminder once again, so our After Dark episodes are basically the continuation from this week's Tuffy Talk Live Show. We actually just got done. This is Monday night here. Just got done recording Tuffy Talk Live Show, and we are now continuing on here. As again, we still have a couple more things to talk about, and definitely got to talk a little bit more football here as well. So with that being said, though, but not actually jumping into football here to actually get started, I want to actually talk a little bit about the announcement of the ACC SEC Men's Basketball Challenge announcement. So NC State is going to be taking on Ole Miss at 9 p.m. on ESPN2 on Tuesday, November 28th. And again, I mean, just wanted to kind of talk a little bit of thoughts. So Macon, Ole Miss, what are your thoughts, man? I mean, to me, I'm sitting here saying, I mean, you're not playing necessarily a juggernaut. I mean, Ole Miss, at least to my knowledge, isn't necessarily an SEC like elite caliber men's basketball program. I mean, so what would you kind of agree with that synopsis? Like, a good challenge, but not necessarily an Alabama necessarily.
Yeah, it's a good matchup, and it's going to be on the road in Oxford. It's going to be a return trip for Levi Watkins.
That's a good point.
And that'll be good there. I think one thing I had forgotten about with Ole Miss going into the season is they have a new coach, and it's Chris Beard. So Chris Beard, if I'm not mistaken, he got big with Texas Tech. Is that right?
Yeah, and then went to Texas. And got
right.
fired from Texas.
That'll be interesting to see what he can do there. He's a good coach. I think he'll make them pretty good. They were not that good before, so we'll see what happens. I think State will probably be. I think State will be something like a 5-point favorite in that matchup, something like that, and because it's on the road, but I think State will be the better team. It's way too early to know where both teams are being ranked within their own conferences, but I looked up CBS Sports had an article where it ranked the matchups in the ACC SEC Challenge, and it put us at 7. That matchup at 7, and that's right in the middle. So I mean that's fair. It's ahead of some games like Clemson at Alabama, Virginia Tech at Auburn. It'll be fine. It's not. I could have thought it'd been a little bit higher because I think NC State's a fun team to watch, particularly because of DJ Burns. But it's fine. I think it'll be interesting to see what happens.
What do you think? I mean, because it looks like, at least in my opinion, I feel like Clemson and Bama, like that should be pretty heavy. Bama.
It's a football game, right? Football game.
Yeah. No, we're not talking football. We're talking basketball. And yeah, I mean, I feel like basketball. I don't know. I just feel like playing at Alabama, Bama should win that one pretty significantly, in my opinion.
Yeah, Nate Oates is a really good coach at Alabama. It will be. I'm already blanking on the name. Who's the guy who played at NC State last season? Is now at Clemson.
Oh, Jack Clark.
Jack Clark, yeah. Jack Clark playing at Alabama.
Made a lasting impression on you, I see.
I just already forgot, man. I'm just
Joe Girard.
It's the travel, man. I'm so tired. So I don't know. It'll be interesting. I think I honestly don't know much about Ole Miss at this point, man. It's just so so far away to me.
I mean, you're right. It's a team that that was one of the deciding factors why Jarkel Joyner had come to State was so he can get experience at the NCAA tournament. So it's a team that hasn't been to the tournament in probably 4 or 5 years. I know they were 12-21 last year, which like you said, led to the Chris Beard hiring. So I agree. I think it's a game that State will probably be favored in, even on the road. It's a good road test. It'll probably be a quad 2 type game. So it doesn't. Yeah, so it doesn't hurt you in either direction if you win or lose that game. I just think it'll be fun.
Go ahead, Layden. You finish your thought.
Well, no, I'm actually moving to a different thought. So go ahead, Macon.
Well, I was going to say, where does this schedule line up? Because we didn't know these questions beforehand. Where does this game line up? I know it's right around Thanksgiving. Mm-hmm. Does anybody know where it falls on the schedule? Because I'm trying to I'll be curious to see.
Yeah, I know.
I'm looking at it now.
I know it's one of
game.
3 matchups that we have against the SEC. 1 road and 2 neutrals with Vandy and Tennessee.
Yeah,
so
it's
that's
game
that's
number.
the first that we haven't really done in a long time.
Actually, what's game?
I would say probably 6 or 7.
It's game 7. It looks like because we play Mount Olive and Exeter, so that's not really a game. So Citadel, Abilene Christian, Charleston Southern, Vanderbilt.
Powerhouses.
We go to the Vegas showdown with Vanderbilt, and then it's Arizona State or BYU. And then we play Ole Miss. State's going to have played some solid Power 5 teams right before they go playing on the road at Ole Miss. And State's going to have to go on the road and play it in Vegas, right? So maybe that kind of is a negative for State, right?
Yeah, maybe.
You get what I'm saying? Because they'll have traveled West Coast, come back, and they play that game Arizona State BYU on the Friday. Yeah, then they go travel to Ole Miss, play the game on Tuesday.
That is kind of a quick turnaround. Yeah,
right, and it's a Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt's been a decent basketball team. They're not football. It's basketball.
Yeah, they're slowly building.
Vanderbilt's decent, and so is Arizona State and BYU. But that'll be, DJ Horn versus his old team at Arizona State, then going to Ole Miss and having Jarkel Joyner, his old team.
My guess
I think State will still be favored in my opinion, but
my guess is State will probably fly back early Saturday morning, because it's a Thursday Friday type setup, and they'll be fine. I don't think they'll have any kind of jet lag.
It's a 9 o'clock game, so it's later in the day too. So
I think they'll be fine.
But to me, y'all, I want to kind of get your thoughts. I think that to me, there's 4 games that really pop out in terms of interesting. That's Miami at Kentucky, UNC and Tennessee, Virginia versus Texas A&M, and then Duke at Arkansas. Is there one particular game that you think really stands out to you?
For me, from an NC State perspective, it's UNC Tennessee, because we'll play both of those teams throughout the season, and so that'll kind of just figure out where we may or may not fit in that pecking order. So that would be probably the one I would lean towards as an NC State fan.
That's a good thought.
Go Vols.
And Miami playing Kentucky, that's what you said, right? That's interesting. They didn't, they didn't put UNC or Duke against Kentucky,
right? That's the easy way out, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I'm curious. Did they match them up like they did kind of when the old Big Ten ACC, where you matched up in your ranking, like in your pecking order?
Yeah,
I think they did the same thing.
I would think so.
Yeah,
I think they're too. I know that the Duke Arkansas game will be interesting to me. I know it's number 1 ranked, but if I remember correctly, we were battling with them for that point guard who ended up committing to Memphis.
Yeah, the transfer.
Jalen Bradford, I think, Bradford was his. Bradley. Bradley was his last name, and they had a really good transfer. I'll try to just go through memory. They had a really good transfer class, and Arkansas has been really good under Musselman. Yeah, I was gonna say Musburger.
So close.
That's not right. So I don't know. I think Arkansas is fun to watch. And
they're really good.
Isn't Filipowski back? Filipowski's back with Duke, right? So that'll be a fun game to watch, and it's in Arkansas. I think I actually would look forward to that more than the Miami Kentucky game for me personally. But I feel like Miami has shown, kind of like Arkansas has shown, like NIL. You can play that game. You can do well. I mean, Miami going and getting a guy like Matthew Cleveland from Florida State to go play at Miami is a big deal.
That was a big
move. I don't know what their schedule looks like, but I gotta imagine that's their first biggest game on their schedule too. So, but Tennessee and North Carolina, that's going to be a fun one in my opinion. So,
well, the interesting thing for me about Kentucky this year is seeing Robert Dillingham
that dude is
over there for
real deal,
Kentucky.
Man. Real deal. I've seen some highlights of him. Recently, that dude's like,
which for those who need a refresher, Robert Dillingham, a 5-star point guard from right here in North Carolina, Combine Academy, actually originally committed to NC State, but then decommitted and then went on to commit to Kentucky.
What's the reason he decommitted? Do we remember?
I still think it was NCAA stuff. Because remember that wasn't because that still wasn't clear.
About what?
Yeah.
Remind me.
The potential penalties that NC State was looking at from the infractions.
I see.
Yeah,
I see.
and I think we're having a terrible year when that was the last place finish in the ACC, so that didn't help.
Yeah, that was the year before last year.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yep.
So, agreed there. But real quick though, before we move on, we are going to take a halftime break right here, and I want to make an announcement as we are doing our giveaway once again, y'all. 2 tickets and a parking pass. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, y'all. We're giving away 2 tickets and a parking pass once again, y'all, for this Marshall game. And all you have to do is enter. Same thing as always. Make sure you're a subscriber, which again is free to do. Hit that free subscribe button, notification bell. Make sure this video hits 25 likes. We're putting a nice easy mark here of 25 likes. So make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you get to that mark, and then leave a comment down below. And for the comment, I want to kind of hear this. Let's do a fun one. What is your favorite all-time NC State game that you've been to? I want to hear that comment. What is your favorite all-time NC State game that you've been to for football? For football. Yeah, no, we won't keep it general. For football, favorite NC State football game you've ever been to? Leave that down in the comments. So again, make sure you're a subscriber. Make sure we hit that 25 like goal. Make sure to leave a comment down below, and we will pick our winner on Thursday afternoon. So make sure to go and do that. Take advantage, and best of luck to everybody. But anyway, jumping right back into it here once again, I did want to kind of bring up one thing here real quick, which I want to kind of get make his thoughts on too here. So I put a tweet out there once again that people, when they get their end of season surveys, that they need to put in there a comment about bringing the band back to the other side, because I'm telling y'all, man, like this
is the hill you're gonna die on, Leighton.
Well, because I'm in the student section.
Leighton, what he's saying is, I miss the band because I was sitting over there.
Well, I just feel like that one of the biggest things that really helped is the student section being fully a part of all the band things, like the
cheers and the chants,
all the cheers and all that, and they just can't either. It's a combination if they can't hear / maybe they don't know and they're not really watching the band for what to do, because generally the band will do it along with them. So, but because again, they just don't have leaders. So I think it's more of just that they just can't really hear it as well with the band being all the way there on the opposite side. Just kind of wanted to give my 2 cents there on how much it was changed.
I'm going to just put that on my survey just for you. I don't have a dog in that fight, but if it makes you sleep better, I'm going to do it for you.
Extremely passionate about where the band is located.
I get it though. I get it, because it does look off. Like, because I'll look down there, you just kind of get a cue for what it just doesn't.
What was the reasoning why? What was the reason why to fill up that section, because it always looks empty?
Yeah,
it was twofold. It was the main one was students sneaking from that section over to where the band was, and it was overcrowding that section, and the older crowd, i.e. the season ticket holders, were not having a good time being squeezed out by people that were illegally squatting, if you will.
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, I mean, it's a good point, but then though, man, to me, it's taking a lot away. And I mean, now the one thing which I will say as well is that I'm trying to find it here real quick, but I mean, like when I put that tweet out, it got well over 200 likes. So I mean, like it got a lot of support from NC State. Yeah, it got 232 likes. So I mean, it got a fair amount of NC State support for sure.
Agree with you, yeah.
So just saying there, but just want to kind of give my 2 cents there. But anyway, so now jumping back on over here real quick. So news came out today of Christian Zachary, who was a wide receiver commit for Virginia, correct, Macon? That decommitted from Virginia here today. Was committed to Virginia, decommitted here today. So I want to kind of ask you, Macon, I mean, like, what's the realistic likelihood with the amount of wide receiver commits we already have that you could get another guy like Christian Zachary on this recruiting class?
Dude, it's where there's smoke, there's fire. I mean, like he decommitted after officially visiting NC State. I mean,
Ooh.
He literally just was on an official visit this past weekend.
I did not know that part.
He ends the official visit and he decommits. I mean, what do you think's happening?
He saw the offense.
He saw so much opportunities.
I can play right away.
He saw so much opportunities. Like
maybe he knew MJ was coming.
Here.
They need me.
He knew MJ was coming.
So I mean, Yeah, to be honest with you, and I don't know how far this I wasn't really super crazy about Zachary's film. To be straight, he's a solid receiver, but
I think the biggest knock on him is he plays like at the lowest level, like his talent.
But he doesn't wow me at that level when I watched him. I'm not
right.
I started somewhere he's a coach's son, and that usually translates very well.
It's usually
those players and he makes plays. I didn't have a wow factor for me personally watching him. But I saw if you look at his measurables. I think he's got the length.
Yeah,
he's long. He's like 6'2", 6'3". Doesn't have a lot of weight on him. He looks skinny when you watch him on film. But Coach Dan can get under. D'Antonio can get him in the weight room and fix that. I believe with state staff they can produce at that. I just when I compare a guy like relative for me, Jamar Boston. Jamar Boston gets me excited. Zachary was like, okay, if the coaching staff wants him, we'll take him. And I don't know I think part of it too doesn't have a big offer list.
He doesn't. So his offers include NC State, Virginia, App State, Charlotte, Cincinnati, Duke, ECU, Georgia State, Liberty, Old Dominion. Right. So in terms of Power 5, it's really only us, Virginia, Duke, Cincinnati.
Yeah. I mean, so it was. I mean, that's kind of probably indicative of the film and all that. But I mean, 6'3" is a good size, and he's 6'3", 190. I'm looking at it right now.
It's good size. Yeah.
But to answer your original question, Leighton, I think the writing's on the wall here, and that'll put him. App State have 4 receiver commits out of the high school class. That'll be Paylor, Taylor. That'll be Boston, and it would be Zachary
and Terrell Anderson.
What did I say? Yeah. Paylor. I said Taylor. Paylor Anderson. Boston and Zachary. I don't know. I got Paylor and Taylor early on from when they were in the recruiting cycle. So, Paylor
or my confusion Boston, of accidentally tweeting out Jonathan Taylor instead of Jonathan Paylor.
I love Jonathan Taylor Thomas. And
Jonathan Taylor is a great player. If he wants to come play for State, I would have let that happen.
We would love it, absolutely.
But he's currently not playing right now, so that's okay.
Yeah. Which I do got to get to your point. Jackie Franciulli, who's a Virginia insider today, actually switched her prediction from Virginia to NC State. So
there you go.
There you go.
I mean, look, he literally went on an official visit and decommitted the next day. What do you think's happening?
Yeah, so, that's a good point.
One thing is how quickly does he announce? Well, how quickly does he announce? He's already committed to Virginia. Yeah. Does he do a video thing? Generally, with a flip, you don't do that. So.
Yeah, you just kind of.
I gotta imagine this is going to be pretty quick. So,
yeah. Anything to add to that, Greg? Sorry.
Nope. I just said Usually you'll just fly something under the radar, kind of like what Richie did when he decommitted from Carolina to State. It was just kind of a quick boom, drop.
It's still really sweet to me.
I mean, that is a good one. But to your point, though, I mean, that's normally how it happens. It's just go about your business because you already had your big show.
Turned out pretty well for NC State.
Yeah, I think his name, Peyton. It's like a city in North Carolina.
Peyton Spilson?
Pilson?
Oh, it was the main character in Castaway.
Oh, Wilson.
Yeah.
Wait a second. CJ Clark, he didn't ever commit to. Did he commit to Carolina? No, he just committed straight to State. I don't think so. I remember it was a battle between State and Carolina.
I think it was probably down to State and Carolina.
But the last guy turned out pretty well when that happened for State. So.
Before we continue, I want to take a quick second to tell you about our sponsor, Flatlands Jessup Insurance Group, that has your whole world covered, with agents in 5 offices throughout eastern North Carolina to help you decide how much coverage you need. Offering policies for home and auto, recreational vehicles, commercial, crop, health, life, and employee benefits. They are able to combine options to find a comprehensive solution that works for you. Flatlands Jessup protects the things you love so you can spend less time worrying and more time enjoying them. Find them on Facebook and Instagram at Flatlands Jessup. You can also visit their webpage at www.flatlandsjessup.com. So please make sure to go and check them out. And other big news as well to kind of wrap up part 1 here, but watching the Notre Dame Duke game, Riley Leonard going down with an injury, which, I mean, the only reason why we're talking about that is because more than likely he's probably going to be out for the Duke game when we play him, I would assume. I mean, unless things turn around a lot better than us. Now, again,
I think
we don't wish him to be out for sure. Like, we want, we wish, we don't wish harm on anybody. Like, we'd rather beat you 100%.
You told me specifically you wished harm on him, Leighton.
I mean, I'm mad that he's injured, but I'm not mad that he might not be playing against us. How about I say it like that?
Yeah,
we've had our fair share of QB injuries, so
yeah, we've been there, done that, Duke. If you need any tips, we have a lot of.
Ironically, against Duke was one against one of them.
Yeah.
So. He's a hell of a player. I mean, the way he sliced and diced Clemson, and he was playing really well against Notre Dame. He can single-handedly beat you. So, hopefully he gets back, but maybe just not before our game with him.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And huge shout out once again, y'all, to Sam Hartman, man. Like, that dude is an absolute class act, man. He is such a class act. He's an amazing player, but I think even a better person. So huge shout out to Sam as well. Got to give that props where props is due. So anyway, y'all. But so with that being said, I want to kind of ask you, man, like, thoughts on MJ here, as I know, you're pretty, definitely got to still catch up here on your rest here from being back here. So I want to kind of give you the floor. Like, what are your thoughts right now with MJ, man? Like, what should we expect from MJ? What do you think the ceiling is? Like, kind of give me your thoughts here.
I think with him, he is. I think State fans need to temper their expectations, right? They need to give a guy a fair chance and not put so much pressure on him. He does not need to come in here and be thinking, "Oh, I got this. This is my team." Like, he can't do that. But State needed to make a change because it was not looking good, and they could, like I said in the live stream, like, they couldn't just sit there and say, "Yeah, we're still good with this." They have to make a change, and I'm glad they did. I think with MJ. You're going back against a Marshall team who is undefeated. As we mentioned in the live stream, they're a top 25 defense. The advantage of him being at home, perception is Marshall, so you should beat Marshall, and we should beat Marshall. Yep. But I don't know if he goes out there. I guess my question is, what would you say is a successful day for him? 2 touchdowns, 200+ yards passing, and
so I know like football's a team sport. I know football's a team sport. What if he struggles and you get a win? Are you happy with that?
Right. I mean, this is with the Brennan thing. Mm-hmm. So he was 3-2, right? Mm-hmm. So he lost to a top 10 team, and then he lost the other night to Louisville,
who's now top 25.
Right, yeah. And then you cut the guy. You didn't cut him, but you kind of insert. You lost his job.
Yeah, you bench him.
Is that too harsh? Because I feel like it's just true about film, right? Because what we see on film is like something's not right here.
It depends on how MJ does, really. If MJ's having the same problems like getting rushed and guys aren't getting open, then maybe. But like you said, you had to try something.
Right, but I just come back to like. Are we cutting Brennan too soon? I don't think so, because what I see on film is like, this has got to change. Something's got to change. Maybe we start with them, but we can't. We don't have a lot of options on offensive line to change.
But I think maybe this is just the first domino to fall. Is that the quarterback? Maybe the next game we see a shorter rotation at wide receiver. Maybe we see some other things, right? And so
maybe, probably not, but maybe.
Right, exactly. I mean, it's wishful thinking. Probably.
I know.
You would think they would try those things before changing the QB.
I mean,
another thing too is Jordan. This is the first game we didn't have Jordan Houston either, right?
Second game.
Second game.
Okay.
You didn't have him against Virginia either.
Yeah. I forgot about that. Yeah, I don't know, man. I think to me, for me to feel good about Morris, if he goes out and has 3 touchdowns, whether that's running the ball or throwing the ball, and he goes for like 250 yards and 60 rushing yards, like 300 all-purpose yards, 3 touchdowns, I'll feel good about MJ.
Win or loss, but what if you lose? As long as it's not on him.
I mean, winning good, I'll feel good we won, but I won't necessarily feel good about. Yeah, no. I won't feel like okay, look good against top 25 defense.
Honestly, like I think we did put a lot on Brennan, but like we haven't run the ball, and so when teams don't respect the run and they just key in on and they can lock up your receivers, and you can't get separation because your receivers just can't figure it out. And then when they do, they can't catch the ball. Or when they do get open, Brendan overthrows. I mean, I just still think it's more than just the quarterback.
Yeah,
I mean,
it is. Well, I mean, like I said earlier, and I think some of it is play calling. Like, okay, if I mentioned earlier in the live stream, if Conception's only getting 3 targets, that's unacceptable to me because he's the most explosive player in your team right now.
If not the most explosive, the most consistent.
Right. So if you're an OC, if you're a good OC, you are drawing up plays to get him touches. Like, you are making plays so he gets touches to the ball. You're clearing out space in certain spots so he gets the ball. You're intentionally giving him the ball. So, like, how do you
lose?
My question is starting to be with Anai a little bit. Like, I don't know.
It's fair.
Side note is who's the QB coach right now? It is Anai. There's Anai.
No, it's Roper.
Roper. Was he the QB coach for?
Oh, I mean, last year he was, yeah.
Yeah.
He went from He
was. Go ahead.
He went from QB and then he went to running back.
That's right.
And then he went back, and now he's back at quarterback.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Anai is the running back.
Some's not gelling, and I don't know what it is. But I just kind of look at some things like the KC thing. I'm like, come on, why he's only getting 3 targets?
I think, Anai hasn't been as creative in the passing game, but I think he has been in the running game. I mean, you've seen us run out of 2 back sets, and the goal line play where Mims scored, that was literally lined up in the wing tee. I think he's shown some creativity in the run game, but in the pass game, at least against Louisville, it wasn't there.
And to go back to the point you made earlier, Greg, why do we got 8 receivers catching the ball?
Yeah,
I mean, one of them.
That's actually less. We had
2 running backs. Okay, 2 are running backs. Okay, so fair. So why we got 6 receivers? Why we got 6 receivers?
I think 6 is a fine number. It's as long as the top 3 are getting the majority of the.
But who is it? Why? I mean, again, Conception's only getting 3 targets. Penny's got 2 targets.
He's a tight end.
Well,
if you're rotating,
that was the frustrating thing was that they were talking about before the game that Penix was going to be more involved, and he was not more involved.
Yeah, IPS expect Penix more involved, and that didn't materialize.
Yeah, Michael Allen has been great on PFF, one of your most effective offensive players in the rushing game and passing game. Why does he get 2 targets? Why does that happen? Why is he got 8 carries for 22 yards? Maybe I'm going to switch gears here. You're looking at these rushing numbers; they suck.
Well,
that's what I'm saying. If you can't run the ball, you give your they're not going to respect the run. And you can't run play action off of it. You can't. Yep. There's so much you can do off the run that you can't do if you're not running the ball.
I just look at this side note. When did Peyton Wilson go on offense? Did I miss that?
That was the fake punt.
The fake punt.
Oh well. That's right. That was good. That was
got the first down.
Yeah, it's one of those plays where you look like a genius if it works, and you look like an idiot if it doesn't work. So.
I had called that. I was like, we're gonna fake it here. I don't know. I normally don't. Yeah, I don't normally say we're gonna run a fake, and we. Yeah, that's probably the first time I've done it in years.
We had no spark.
Correct.
We have to make something happen,
and that's exactly why I said it.
Yeah, I don't know.
We didn't do anything on that drive, did we?
We scored. That was our one touchdown. That was our one touchdown.
Okay, I couldn't remember.
But I'm just looking at this, and it just makes me sick.
More fake punts. More fake punts. More fake punts.
Well, and just to summarize, the Wolfpack stats came out with this tweet, which I thought was awesome. That State's running backs have had 38 touches for 101 yards total the last 2 weeks without Houston. Yeah. Allen has 18 touches for 58 yards. Mims has 12 touches for 28 yards, and Raphael has 3 for.
And for reference, people who don't know what is generally a good average, 4 yards is a good average.
4 yards in a cloud of dust.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you're at 3.5, it's okay.
Yeah.
You get the 2s, you're not doing it. You stink.
Well, and you think about it, if you get 4 yards a carry or 4 yards a play, that's a first down every time, right?
Yeah.
So that's
I'm saying I said you stink. it could be a product of the offensive line too, right?
Well, and that was what I was going to ask.
It's a combo.
Yeah, it's definitely a combo. Like, are you opening holes? Are running backs running through the proper gap that the play is designed for?
Trying to bounce everything outside.
Yeah.
So I think to all your point, Drew, kind of come full circle with your question. What should we expect with MJ? I just think it's not totally him, and you're going to have to temper your expectations with him.
Yeah.
I just think you want to see progress with the offense.
Right.
If you see progress there, then you can feel better as a team because the defense is going to be the defense. They're playing well. I think one thing I noticed on PFF's grade was that the run defense has gotten notably better starting game 3, and you know what that was? I think that was when Savion Jackson came back. Or did he come back? Was it the second game?
He played against Notre Dame.
Notre Dame. Okay.
He played against Notre Dame.
Because he had a tackle for loss on the first play against Notre Dame.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm getting wrong. But it's just I'm noticing the defense is going to be good, and they're getting better.
Well, I think too you've kind of figured out your rotation there, and I think you've started getting better communication, and people are filling their gaps, and there's a lot better line integrity there. And so,
but anyways, that's my thought. I think MJ can be good. For me personally to feel good and confident with MJ, I want to see 300 all-purpose yards, 3 touchdowns.
I love it.
Which I mean,
that is asking a lot. Are you saying?
I mean, I think it is. I mean,
250. I mean, that's asking for 250 passing yards and 50 rushing yards, which for MJ,
that's a lot. That's a lot of rushing yards because he only ran for like 48 in the games that he played last year.
Okay, so then fine, 275.
What would make you feel good then, Greg? I might be too strong
yards.
on that. But what would you think is a good?
I think to keep it in general terms, because I know we're trying to wrap this episode up. I think with what you said, progress, right? Go out and fill out a good efficiency. Especially, again, we've said it multiple times, it's a top 25 defense. So if you want to go out, no turnovers. And I know top 25 defense is relative based on the schedule.
Exactly. Yeah.
I get that. So I think you want to go out and see no turnovers. I think you want to go see him throw 60, 65%.
That's a big one. I didn't say that.
Yeah, good 60, 65% completion percentage. 225, I would say, I think is reasonable. And, here's the other thing I want to see: good third down efficiency. And I think that's something that we've struggled at over the last couple of weeks, just keeping drives alive. And I think that, and then the damn penalties. Like we've been putting ourselves in bad
10 penalties against Louisville.
Yeah, so we've been putting ourselves in bad positions so where you can't sustain drives. So I think it's a multiple levels to that, but that's where I want to be.
Agreed. I like it. All right, Wolfpack Nation. Well, that wraps up part 1 there, y'all. So make sure to tune in here for part 2. And make sure, again, if you haven't already, make sure to enter into our giveaway from Marshall. 2 tickets and a parking pass free of charge. All you have to do enter is be a subscriber. Make sure we hit that 25 like mark. And then make sure to leave a comment down below. What was your all-time favorite in-state football game you've ever been to, y'all? And we will pick that winner Thursday afternoon. But with that being said, make sure to give us a follow. Tuffy Talk Now on Twitter, Instagram, or TikTok. And we'll see y'all for part 2. Go Pack, y'all.